Before anything moves, before the key even turns, there's a kind of silence around this car that feels intentional, like it knows exactly what it's about to become. Because under the hood of the Silvia S15 sits something that doesn't try to impress on paper first, it proves itself in how it feels. A 2.0-liter, inline four-cylinder, known as the SR20, and in turbocharged form, it becomes something far more serious than its size suggests. And the moment you turn the key, everything begins. That cold start, it doesn't explode into noise, it wakes up. A sharp ignition, followed by a tight, mechanical idle, slightly raspy, slightly metallic, like every internal component is still settling into motion. You can hear the valve train ticking lightly, the injectors pulsing, a subtle rhythm that feels raw, unfiltered, almost honest in a way modern engines don't always feel. Because this isn't over-isolated, it's not trying to hide itself. It wants you to feel it. And at idle, there's a faint vibration through the chassis, not uncomfortable, but present, like a reminder that everything here is mechanical, not digital. The SR20 depending on configuration, runs a relatively compact layout, aluminum block, aluminum head, designed for balance between strength and weight. And that matters, because this engine was never just about straight-line speed, it was about response, about control, about the way it builds power. Inside, you've got a DOHC setup, dual overhead camshafts, managing 4 valves per cylinder, designed to breathe efficiently, especially under boost. And that airflow is everything. Because unlike naturally aspirated engines, this one lives and dies by how well it moves air under pressure. Turbocharged, intercooled, carefully routed, every bit of intake flow is shaped, controlled, and delivered with purpose. Now step into the car, ease into the throttle, just a little, and this is where things start to reveal themselves. In city driving, low speed, light throttle, the engine feels surprisingly calm. There's no aggressive surge, no sudden jump, just a smooth, controlled delivery of torque that builds as you ask for it. And that's the thing, this engine doesn't rush. It waits. Because below boost, it behaves like a well-mannered naturally aspirated four-cylinder, predictable, linear, easy to modulate in traffic. You can roll through tight streets, feather the throttle, and it responds cleanly, no hesitation, no confusion. But then, you press a little deeper. Not full throttle, just enough to wake it up. And that's when you feel it. Boost begins to build, not instantly, but progressively, like pressure rising behind a sealed system. The turbo starts to spool, faint at first, a soft whistle, barely noticeable, until it grows into something sharper, more defined. And suddenly, the engine transforms. Torque starts to come in, not all at once, but in a rising wave, pushing you forward with increasing urgency. And the transition, from off-boost to on-boost, that's where the character lives. Because it's not violent, it's deliberate. You feel the moment the turbo becomes fully engaged, and from there, everything tightens. Throttle response sharpens, acceleration builds, and the car starts to feel lighter than it actually is. Now, the SR20 isn't the biggest engine in its class, and it doesn't rely on displacement. It relies on pressure. Boost pressure, carefully managed by the ECU, controlling fuel delivery, ignition timing, and airflow in real time. And that ECU tuning, especially in stock form, tends to prioritize balance over aggression. Which means, you get usable power, not just peak numbers. And that's important, because when you compare this to something like the Honda S2000's naturally aspirated engine, you notice the difference immediately. The S2000 revs higher, screams louder, but it doesn't have this mid-range push. It doesn't have that boost-fed surge that fills in the gaps. Or take something like the Toyota Celica GT4. Also turbocharged, but heavier, more complex drivetrain, different character entirely. The Silvia feels simpler, more focused, more direct. And that simplicity shows itself when you push harder. Because now, you're out of the city, open road ahead, and you press the throttle with intent. The engine drops into its power band, the turbo fully spooled, and now the acceleration feels continuous. There's no drop-off, no hesitation, just a steady, relentless pull. From around mid-range, into higher revs, the engine holds its power, keeps pushing, and encourages you to stay in it. This is where the 50 to 90 miles per hour pull becomes interesting. Because this engine doesn't spike, it builds, and then sustains. You feel the torque carry you forward, the turbo maintaining pressure, the engine breathing efficiently under load. And because of the gearing, especially in manual configurations. You can keep the engine right where it wants to be.